Perfect. So we are here with Tam Agosti Gisler, who is seeking her second term for school board seat F. Thank you for being here, Tam.
Thank you very much for having me.
So for people that aren't familiar with who you are, can you share a little bit about your background?
A resident of Anchorage, Alaska since 1959. Went through the Anchorage School District, grades 1 through 12. We didn't have kindergarten all over the district back then. Then was a teacher in the district for 22 years. Parent in the district of 3 children. The last one is graduating from East this year. And director of the School Business Partnership Program for 6 years. So I have a 52-year relationship with the Anchorage School District.
So why are you seeking a second term?
Well, there's a lot of things that I would still like to work on. I anticipated when I came on the board in 2012 that I was in for a tumultuous ride, and I was right. We've been faced with budget challenges, with personnel changes, and with a national and state call for education reform. So in these pivotal times, I feel that as society reshapes education, that I bring to the table a moderate, collaborative, and a common sense approach to making these necessary changes.
Now, like you mentioned, speaking of some tough financial times with the Anchorage School District, looking back, would you have done anything different? I know people were upset that, some teachers had to be let go and then were brought back and just kind
One
of
of the things that we were just discussing yesterday at our work session is perhaps working with our assembly to change our budget timeline. Since we're required to give a budget to the assembly by the first Monday in March, we oftentimes are faced with doing our budget more than once because the legislature has not given us full indication on what the funding sources are going to be. So if we could move that later in the calendar, there might be a possibility of stopping some of the churn that happens when we have to give a certain amount of notice for layoffs, and then we turn around and rescind that. So that's one of our possible solutions too. It's a fine line because we have specific laws in terms of how much notice you have to give someone if their position is going to be eliminated. And so working within those constraints, yet trying to bring stability to our workforce is very important to us.
And is it tough given our economy right now? It's very uncertain with the lower oil prices. Do you anticipate this being any different?
Well, we have many challenges coming up, and it's very challenging for us when we try to plan a budget, and even 8 months later, the funding for that budget is in jeopardy with the governor's proposal on education cuts. So it's difficult. There are people that say we should be making 6-year plans. Well, without revenue-producing powers, we have some difficulties in trying to do that and do it logistically and logically.
What do you think is the biggest challenge facing ASD?
It's working with what we have been given to do the job, to improve the outcomes of our students. We're doing our pilot program right now that is already showing some very positive results. The pre-K emphasis for the preschool to bring many students up to kindergarten readiness is already showing some good results. We have focused resources on literacy training and lower classroom size for kindergarten through 2nd grade. Just in the short time that we started this pilot at the beginning of this year, we're already seeing positive results. The bottom line is if we want to raise our proficiency levels all the way up through 12th grade, we need to deal with the problem at the beginning and take care of those concerns right in the beginning. Waiting even till 3rd grade is sometimes too late, and we're not able to do the catch-up that's needed. So.
Are there any particular issues that you'd like to focus on if you're given this opportunity?
Yes. In fact, I have my little cheat sheet here to talk about it. One of the things, besides keeping our kindergarten readiness and literacy pilot program on track, is I'd like to expand our alternative programs that offer school choice and in our district, and that's in order to meet students' varied learning styles and philosophical preferences, and whether that be our language immersion or our back to basic, our optional, our cultural, or our Montessori approaches. There's many different types of students, and we have many choices to meet them. In fact, when I go to the Lower 48 and talk about what our public school system offers, people are very, very impressed.
And also school business partnership, that's something that you've taken on as well, and making sure that kids, are able to explore what fields that they may be interested in.
Right,
as
and
they get
in
older.
particular, our business partners who are marvelous and very generous and work with us on our attendance initiatives, in addition to our career and technical education programs. That's another area that we're expanding, is each of these, what we call CTE, Career and Technical Education Academies at each of the high schools. And many of our business partners sit on advisory boards to help make sure that the skills that are being taught are applicable and up to date with what workforce needs are. I want to see those expansion of those programs, in particular because they bring relevance, they engage students, they're rigorous, and they have positive impact on our students' workforce skills and their post-secondary options. So that's one of them. Another area that I'd like to expand, we just had a report at a recent board meeting on this. We had a pilot this year with the People Mover in East High School. And at East High, every student was outfitted with a student ID bus pass. And this gave them a lot more flexibility to participate or, to take advantage of educational opportunities before school, even during school, after school, and on weekends, as well as activities. People Mover has seen a huge increase in ridership on those times. I would love to see this expanded to some other high schools, and maybe this can help us start to deal with an issue that I had many people talk to me about, and that's how might we, even in declining budgets, offer transportation options for students who want to attend our alternative and charter schools but don't have the private transportation abilities. So it's a bigger question that I would love to start to do the work on.
And what do you say to critics who maybe have concern to the school board is overspending? Do you think that's the case?
Well, it's hard to overspend when we can't even produce revenue. We always put forth a balanced budget. And so that's the parameters that we work with. Some people actually are critics of the amount that we have in our reserve fund, but there are very logical and financially, fiscally conservative reasons for that. There's a certain amount we leave in the fund balance so that our AAA bond rating stays in place for both the muni and the school district. And there are funds that we need to have in reserve. I always use as an example when Russian Jack Elementary burnt down a number of years ago. We didn't have an opportunity to bond for that. We needed to start building a facility immediately. And that's what every smart person does, even in their personal budgets, is they have reserves for emergencies.
As well. All right, that's all the questions I have. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I wanted to say I plan to continue to work with the administration on operational efficiencies that bring electric energy savings and reduce waste. I'm still committed to dealing with some of these tough programs. My passion has always been my education, and I'm really willing and ready to do the job if I'm reelected. And I thank the citizens of Anchorage for putting their trust in me.
Great. Thank you so much, Tam, for stopping by. Tam Agosti, Gisler, running for school board, seat F.
Thank you.